All right, guys, here we are. This is our last sketching lesson. I'm gonna go over what today's lesson is gonna be about. We're gonna do our lesson, and then I am going to make some announcements at the end of the video. So be sure to make sure that you are listening for those. So let's get started. So today we are talking about we kind of touched on small fullness. Today we're talking about big fullness, and one of the two differences of small fullness versus big fullness is that small fullness it could just be a little bit of ways from the body. It doesn't have to be so big or expanded, versus big fullness, like we see here in this garment, it's completely like inches off of the body. It's kind of anchored down here at the waist, and then it's just free flowing. So we are really talking about a bigger garment, essentially, in some aspect. Now, one of the other aspects of small fullness versus big fullness, we're also talking about fabric. And I don't know if you guys can see here. So when we talk about fabric, small fullness doesn't have a lot of fabric that's gathered up, versus like this garment, it's really gathered up here, here, and here. So there's a lot more fabric in between than it just being on her body, right? And when we talk about small fullness, we're talking about like an A-line or something that maybe have a little bit of a loose fitting on the body. But for bigger fullness, we're not only talking about bigger dresses, we're also talking about more gathering of fabric. And these are just two examples. The examples that we're going to be sketching today is going to be this skirt, and you can see some more of the gathers here than previously. And this top, you can definitely see the fabric. They've cinched the fabric in more and more, so it gets these nice little ruffles. Now we have touched base on some of these techniques, so this lesson is really just to kind of give you more tools in your toolbox, and to be able to establish these looks, as well as for you to be able to continue practicing on them. So the first thing we're going to get started on with is we're going to tackle this blouse first. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start on this blouse. And it is off the shoulder. It's off the shoulder blouse, maybe like about there. Now the detail is closer to the neckline. So I'm actually going to start at the torso and work my way up. That way I get all the easy stuff out of the way first, and then tackle this more complex detail. Okay? So this is a crop top that comes way up higher than her waist. So I'm just going to use her bust as a guideline. So her bust kind of ends right here. So that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to have my frowny face first, and then I'm going to make my L's and draw that torso line. Okay. I know this is part of her arm, but I'm just going to go ahead and draw that so it kind of gives me a better understanding of the shape of this garment. All right, next step. For this ruffle, I am going to draw a curved line to where I think the anchor of this ruffle is. Okay, so in layman's, for example, like I'm going to draw a line like this, and then I'm going to make the ruffle, you know, on both sides of that line. That's what I mean. So we kind of decided that the ruffle comes up to here. So I'm going to draw my line right about there. Okay. I'm going to erase my two little guidelines. And now remember these Z's that I told you to practice? This is where they're really going to come in handy. Because the wider you do them, the less fabric there is, versus the smaller you do them, the more fabric there is. So we are going to do our little S's going all the way across here. I'm going to move the light over a little bit so you can see a little bit better. So I'm going to make a curved L, like so. And then I'm going to start my Z's. So, and what makes this kind of easy is that it doesn't all have to be the same size or the same shape. You are trying to convey that this is fabric, and fabric isn't like a machine or anything like that. It does what it wants to do. I'm gonna do this side. Obviously, kind of like the more crazier and like not like mechanical it looks, the more fabric, the more it looks like fabric. And then I'm going to make my same L shape on that side. Now to make this look a little bit more realistic, I'm going to go back and each down divot, I'm just going to make my lines. And this kind of gives the effect that there is dimension happening and that these top lines are obviously behind these lower lines. Okay, now I'm going to go to the lower part and do the same thing. And I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of shading. So it kind of like starts to trick the eye a little bit. And then to give it even more dimension, this line right here that we had first drawn, I'm going to go back and kind of make these like stress lines. And they don't have to be uniform, you know, just wherever you can fit them. Just to kind of indicate, you know, stress there. Sweet, and we are done with our little crop top. Now we are going to move on to the skirt. So just to reference back what our skirt looks like, you know, it's got a bunch of ruffles, it's got a waistband, you can even implement the layers, you know. This is where these big old gaps, that's your big zigzag lines, like these. And there's a bunch of fullness scrunched up at the top there, so we're gonna go ahead and try our best to convey that. So let's get to it. All right, first things first, we're gonna start with our waistband. Our waistband obviously is sitting at the waist, so I'm gonna make my happy face, and then I'm gonna make my L and my other L. Then I'm going to complete that thick waistband and make another happy face. Now I'm going to start off with the outer silhouette of the skirt, and then we'll go back and do the detail in it. So I'm going to make this skirt go out, because it is a fuller skirt. It kind of goes to the knees. Kind of has like almost like a bell shape because it's so full. There, that looks a little bit better. Then I'm going to make my L's here. L's here. And now I'm going to do the bigger gather. So we're going to do this one. Okay, so that's my top layer. So I'm going to do my back layer now, continuing at that L. Make sure to go behind her legs. So it actually looks like she is wearing a skirt. Now I'm going to make my same lines that I did up here. And they don't have to go all the way up to the waistline. You know, that's your decision. Next, I'm going to make my lines on the bottom. And notice how I'm not going past my top layer because this is, you know, she's wearing it. It's all around her legs. Next, I'm going to make the gathers up here. And this is just, I think we've touched on this before. This is just a simple squiggly line. Simple. You can do some like long stems, and you can add some more if you would like. So that really gives the effect that this is a gathered skirt. And there you have it. This is our finished look. So now I am going to talk about a few announcements and make sure that everyone is getting the information. So first thing is first, all grades for underclassmen are due May 22nd. All senior grades are due May 15th. Okay? So underclassmen, that's when your grades are due. Seniors, that's when your grades are due. Okay? Next thing, I will be going back to the school soon to clean up my classroom. If you want your project and binder, the last date for you to inform me is going to be Wednesday, May 13th. That is the last day for you to tell me, hey, Jess, I would really like my binder and my project, this and that. Okay? If I don't have a notification from you by this date, you will not be able to get your project and binder until next school year, right? With that being said, if you are going to go ahead and take your binder over the summer, and you are going to take me next year for my advanced class, keep your binder intact. Do not take anything out of it because I will be expecting you to bring it back to school to my class. Okay? We are going to build upon your skill set. We're going to learn a whole lot other things, and I will ask you for a binder. So if you can keep it intact, you can keep all the information in it over the summer, we can continue to build upon the same binder. So again, your last date to tell me if you would like your binder and your project is May 13th. May 13th. It's the last day for you to tell me. Okay? Other announcements, I put a survey on Schoology as one of my posts. So please, please, please look at it, do it. It helps me, it helps the program, it helps you guys. It's all about your feedback. So please take the time and finish that survey. I think that's all I have as far as announcement goes. Again, this is our last project. Make sure you're up to date with all your classes. If you have any comments or concerns, you can always message me or email me. You guys did phenomenal with this distant learning, and I hope you were able to learn more about garments and more about fashion and the construction process of fashion. Sorry, the video cut out last minute. Anyway, I was just saying that you guys did an amazing job, and I hope everyone has a good summer, a restful summer, and I will, if you're taking my class next year, I will see you next year. If you are not, I hope you enjoyed the class. I hope you learned a lot. Sorry, that's my dogs. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope everyone tells their friends about it. And yeah, I had super fun for this being my first year teaching. And I can't wait for next year.